Hello to everybody. What is on your screen right now is what I believe is the new model that consultants will be using. This is the model that brought me to $1 million profit, cash in the bank, and ultimately allowed me to go and travel the world and now come back and actually work on things that I'm excited to work on. There's some changes to this model, and to be clear, this isn't the exact model that I used before because some new technologies come out that's actually improved this model that makes me even more excited to share it with you. And I've been wanting to make this video for months now, but I felt like the public opinion of consultants was too attached to some other ideas, some old ideas, that I felt like there wouldn't be the crack that was needed in order for me to present this new idea, this new, what I believe is a better way of doing things. But it feels like things are changing because before, people would be suckling on the teats of Mark Zuckerberg. Ooh, please, Zuckerberg, please, may I have some traffic? I'll give you some money, Zuckerberg. Oh, Susan Wojcicki, founder and CEO of YouTube. Not the founder, but the CEO. Please, may I have some traffic? I'll give you some monies. That was the old approach. And I think there's some flaws in that approach. And you may understand that this model, which is the model that I used, doesn't involve any ads whatsoever. So I want to explain that part first, why I don't believe that ads are long-term. And then I want to dive deep into every single section of this model and kind of explain how it works cohesively in a model and allows you to get goodwill at scale, build a huge loyal audience, use that audience to build a community of people, solve that community's problems so that you become somebody that's known as being incredibly helpful, that generates massive goodwill to the public, and then you monetize the top 1% of that audience in order to create massive profit. It's a much more beautiful, elegant way of running business instead of coming out and trying to sell to people, where you end up with the reputation of someone that's just running ads or someone that's trying to sell, or you may have posts about you that's being called a scammer, all of that sort of stuff. And by the way, I've been talking with Sam about this model a fair bit, and he says that he likes it. In fact, I think there's a chance that he's going to be pivoting school to this use case instead of the current use case, which is basically moving school as a software for product delivery to a software for marketing. But that might not happen. That's just something that him and I have been talking about. He could change his mind, which is completely okay. Don't get attached to that idea, but that could happen, which excites me a lot. Anyway, starting off with the traffic engine. As you can see, it's pretty simple. And as you can see, there's no ads. So let me explain first why there's no ads in this traffic system. Alex Hormozi made this incredible video explaining the biggest mistake that stopped him getting past 30 million. He goes on to explain that there are some things that are constant within business. And basically he explained that over time, even if revenue increases, profit decreases. So it looks like this. And you end up making a load of revenue, but hardly any profit. We saw that this happened to Sam Ovens when he scaled to $36 million revenue, but the profits were laser thin. He ended up cutting revenue down massively and also cutting profits down, but still ended up making more profit before because he was able to solve this problem. And Hormozi explains the reason why this happens, why you end up making less and less profit over time, even though revenue increases. And this happens if you advertise, because CPMs will always increase over time. This is just a law of marketing. CPMs will increase over time. Why? Well, more and more people will jump to the advertising platforms. So maybe 10 years ago, or a good example is you've heard Gary Vee talk about this. He built his father's business, Wine Library, I think it was, or he scaled it primarily off of Google AdWords. So when Google AdWords, the little ads that you see at the top of a Google search, came out, he was one of the first people to jump on it. So he was buying words like wine for really cheap, like 10 cents a click. People would type in wine and he would have an advertising spot. So he dominated and he was able to use that to massively scale the business. But over time, as more people realize that there's an opportunity here for profit, more and more people jump into the platform, increasing the CPMs, decreasing profit. On top of that, as you scale, you reach a colder and colder audience. This makes sense. If I'm going to start business now, I go to the number one person who's the perfect fit for what I have to offer, and I get him in as a customer. The more that I scale, the less warm people that I have to try to convince to buy my thing, which means that you're reaching a colder and colder audience, harder and harder to convince to buy your thing, which means that you decrease your profit. And the third thing he talked about was an increase in infrastructure. As you scale, you need more infrastructure, you need more managers, you need more software, you need HR team, blah, 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 all of that stuff. But the point he made here is simple. Over time, if you use ads, cost will increase exponentially. It will increase at a greater rate tomorrow than it does today, which means that you end up getting this really tough compounding effect on your costs, massively eroding into your profits. You may have noticed this with your own advertising. Maybe ads are getting more difficult. Maybe direct outreach is getting more difficult. All of these things become more difficult over time because of some of these reasons. Well, direct outreach CPMs don't increase, but you do have to reach a colder and colder audience in order for that to work. Hormozi goes on to explain that this is really detrimental. You really don't want a compounding effect on your costs. That's really, really bad situation. He says that there's one solution to this. There's only one way that you can solve this. And he goes on to say, if I could find it, this is word of mouth. Because with word of mouth, if you get your product so insanely good that for one person that buys, they refer 2 people, then each of these people will refer 2 more people, so you end up with 4 people. Then you end up with 8 people. Then you end up with 16 people, which, as you may have noticed, is a compounding effect, but positively against your profit. So you have this marketing that is compounding negatively, or I should go like this, compounding negatively against your profit. And the only way that you can counteract that is by having a product so good that it goes exponentially in your favor. And these two counter each other out, which preserves your profit, and you're able to continue to scale profitably. This is the whole thesis in this video. It's a great video. I'd recommend you check it out. But imagine if your marketing didn't scale or didn't compound exponentially negatively. What if you could get your marketing to scale exponentially positively? What would happen then? What would happen if your product and your marketing both exponentially scaled? And you didn't have to worry about increasing CPMs. You didn't have to worry about constantly trying to reach a colder and colder audience. You didn't have to worry about increasing CPMs. You didn't have to worry about suckling on the teats of Mark Zuckerberg and Susan Wojcicki. Some of you guys probably have no idea who Susan Wojcicki is, the CEO of YouTube, just for a little bit of context. Yeah, what would happen then? That was the sort of insight that led to me creating this new model, because I don't want to be that person that just advertises a lot. I see those people come up on my YouTube page and I hate them. I don't like people that advertise. Go away. I'm like, skip. Who's this annoying person? We saw the amount of hate that Sam got when he wore his blue suit in the New York apartment. There's no way that that didn't affect profit margins. People are turned off by that. And you end up with negative word of mouth from the marketing. People spread negative messages about you in marketing instead of positive, which of course decreases or makes it more difficult for you to get a sale. What if your marketing increased positive word of mouth? People would share your marketing. What would happen then? That's the sort of idea that we're talking about here. Anyway, the core traffic is simple. You make regular YouTube videos or you start a podcast. And from that, you create a redistribution engine. You hire your biggest fan to cut up the thing that you create and redistribute it across all platforms. By the way, as we're talking about hiring, another benefit of this model is that hiring becomes effortless. If you have an audience, you have a good personal brand, hiring is so simple. People would love to work for you. Think of the people that you watch on YouTube or the podcasts that you listen to. You'd be far more inclined to work for them than you would for some random corporation. Hiring becomes so easy. Anyway, the goal here is to create blockbuster content and have that grow you a huge audience. That's the first step here. And this is possible. We've seen people like Alex Hormozi do this. I did this. I got 600,000 subscribers on YouTube. We've seen people like Iman Gadzi that had an agency all of a sudden stop running ads and go all in on content. By the way, that's what Hormozi did. He stopped running ads and he's gone all in on content. This is what we hear Sam Lovin's doing. He's stopped running ads completely. He's not running any ads, or at least none that I've seen. And he's going all in on this podcast idea that he has. Everyone switching off ads and switching to figuring out this new model. It's the new way of operating, because if you have an audience that love you, it's so much easier. Your marketing compounds exponentially in a positive way, right? Now, there's some problems with this. I built an audience to 600,000 subscribers, but at times it wasn't the most enjoyable process. You're trying to clickbait, you're trying to go viral, that sort of thing. I was trying to build an audience, and I now realize that the better way of doing things is to build a community. I think a community is unbreakable. I think that with an audience, you can get deplatformed. You can get kicked off of the platform. You've seen this happen with Andrew Tate recently. With an audience, the algorithms can change and your reach can get decreased massively. And the people that were seeing your videos or podcast all of a sudden now aren't. I think that an audience isn't an asset. I think that a YouTube channel isn't an asset. A YouTube channel should be used to build something more stable, like a community or even an email list. Personally, for me, I would much rather build a community. This is my community, by the way, Online Synthesizers. It's basically a community designed to help consultants use organic marketing like YouTube and podcasts to scale their consulting company profitably. It also helps people with already 10,000 plus subscribers or followers better monetize that audience using some of the things that I've talked about. And as you can see here, there's 2,000 members in this community. It's a free community. Hosted here on School, which I'm excited to talk to you about. Anyway, let me break down this section of the model. I should also note that this is the public section. We're about to finish the public section, and this model's pretty simple, pretty elegant. So you have your core audience. You build this group of people using YouTube videos or podcasts done in the right way, not just done. I could talk about this for hours. I've uploaded hundreds of YouTube videos. There's a correct way to growing a YouTube channel. I spoke a lot with Alex Hormozi in the beginning, before his channel blew up, about how to perfect his strategy. I'm not claiming credit for his success. I mean, he's an incredible guy. He's very wise. But there is a right way to growing a YouTube channel, and a lot of people get that wrong. Maybe if there's interest, I can talk more about that in another video, or just message me on School. I'm happy to talk more about that. The summary of it, basically, this is me sharing a lot. The summary of it is you want to build a movement. You don't just want to create content. You have to build a movement. And what's at the core of a movement? It's a community. A community is at the core of a movement. So it makes sense for the core of your business to have a community. Because if a community is the start of a movement, and a movement is what's needed for massive business success, then a community should be at the very, very heart of your business. And this is what this model describes. And this isn't my idea. Russell Brunson's been talking about this idea for years. He's literally written a trilogy of books about how to start a movement with your business. This is what ClickFunnels did so well. It wasn't because the software was good, although it was better than all the alternatives at the time. It's because he created a movement. But nowadays, there's so many other platforms out there that are better than ClickFunnels, but your ClickFunnels still does pretty well because it created a movement. It was bigger than ClickFunnels. Imagine that. A software that helps you build funnels. How boring is that? Managed to build a movement. So this is what you have to do with here and also with here. This is why I've put community at the core of this model. Anyway, there's a few different parts of this, and every single thing on this image matters. It all plays a part. You drive traffic from places that your marketing will compound. You drive traffic from YouTube or your podcast where people love you, where your marketing compounds in a positive way, and you bring them towards a community. Now, the previous way of operating a business, either massively scaling ads or something like that, it feels like building a city. I used to play this game called Cities Skylines. It's a great game. Basically, your goal is to build a city, and it's fun. But I actually changed building that game to building a game where I'm building a village. I went from, I started playing this game. It's really fun. You should check it out. I basically changed from building a city to building a village because I think that building a village is more long term. It's way more wholesome. Who doesn't want to build a village? In the village, connections matter, community matters. In the village, you serve them. In this model, you serve people. You don't run out and try and spam people with ads. You serve people and they love you. They love you. You get niche fame, which is another article you should check out. Maybe you can just pause this video and read this. But anyway, I'm getting distracted here. Let me just explain this model to you as simply as I can. There's two different parts to it. There's a community and there's a classroom. In the community, you bring people together and let them communicate about whatever it is that they want to communicate about. You either make this free or low ticket, as in like, I don't know, less than $100 a month, maybe less than $50 a month, something like that. My community is free on School. It's just school.com/synthesizers. You can check out what I'm talking about in the real world. The next thing you do is the classroom. In this classroom, which is free, I think this is the opportunity to define the model that you are going to be building, the model that you believe is the best model for helping the people in the community achieve what they want to achieve. Here, you lay out the information necessary for them to get what they want. And later, you sell the implementation. Following this principle. Give away information, sell implementation. So in this free community or low ticket community, you define the model. You explain to people what, roughly, broadly, what they should be doing to get what they want. Kind of like what I'm doing in this video now. I'm defining the model. I'm not walking through, I can't help you implement this model in this video because we don't have enough time. There's nuance to the situation, blah, 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 blah. That's where your products come in later. That's what I call Synthesizer University, a place to help people implement this model. But in this free community, you define what the model is and you give that away for free. You also post real-time insights. So this is great at building audience. The community is a place to warm the audience up, to give them insights so that they trust you as a leader, which increases the likelihood of them to buy your thing. Previously, when I was growing my YouTube channel, it was my goal to give someone an epiphany as quickly as possible. You want to shorten the distance between someone finding you and you giving them an epiphany. And as soon as you give them an epiphany, they're going to start searching for more epiphanies from you. They're going to start searching from how they can learn more from you. And if you have a product, that's the point that they consider buying your product. I don't know about you guys, but when I first found Sam Ovens, it was through one of his adverts. The first thing I did was I went to his YouTube channel. And within the first video, he gave me an epiphany. I learned something new. I learned something rare and valuable that improved my business. And as soon as I heard that, I went and I binged all of his other YouTube videos. I learned all the epiphanies that I could from him. And then I went and I bought his thing. Of course I'm going to buy his thing. That's the next logical step. I've learned all I can for him for free. I know that he's the real deal now because I've consumed hundreds of hours of his content and it's great. So of course I'm going to buy his thing. His marketing grew exponentially because of his YouTube channel, not because of his ads, but because he put effort into his YouTube channel. And then I bought his thing. That's what we're trying to build here. We're trying to build a mechanism where people discover you, they love you, and then they buy your things. Not people find you through an ads, they're kind of disgusted and they don't really like it, and you have to try sell, convince them, follow-up sequencing, messaging out to people, all of that sort of stuff. That's not what I want to be doing. I don't want to be remembered as the guy that had to pester people to buy their thing. I want to be the guy that puts out so much value into the world that I sit back and people come to me. That's what we're building here. So that's all the different sections. A free low-ticket community or classroom. And by the way, this is not the way School's meant to be used. This is what I believe is the new way of using School. And if you want to try out this new model, I would recommend trying out School. If you haven't jumped on School yet, I actually, I bought schoolreview.com. Because I believe in School so much. I bought this domain because I believe that School's going places. And I think that this could be one of the most effective ways to use this platform. So if you want to check out School for a 14-day free trial and you want to try this new model, I would try out the free trial. I would try pop a few people from your platform, maybe send an email to this group. This isn't me trying to sell you, by the way. If you don't want to use my referral link, just go to school.com, just school.com, and you don't have to use my link. I just thought it was funny to share it, but if you do want to, then I will get a kickback. Anyway, that's the community. This is the public section. You build an audience by providing rare and valuable insights, by creating a blockbuster content machine. And then you drive them towards a community where here you build a village, here people you build connections. And by the way, on this note, the reason that this is so valuable is because one of the downsides of this is that you end up on a treadmill. You have to constantly create, constantly create, constantly create. And the reason you have to constantly create is because here you are hosting a party. And the only reason that people are coming to the party is for you. So if you don't show up to the party, then why would anybody else show up? They're showing up for you. You're not there, so they don't show up. Whereas when you build a community, you're hosting a party, but people aren't showing up just for you. People are also showing up for the other guests at the party. People are also showing up for the other hundreds or thousands of people at the party. So now you can come and go as you please. When you come and you create content, people love you for that. But when you're not there, people aren't angry. People are still at the party talking to other people. So this is the way that you get off the content treadmill. It's by building a community, because now people are coming to the party, not just for you, but for other people, which means you can come and go as you please. The other section of this is rewarding referrals. I believe, I could be wrong about this, but I believe that School is working on a feature for free communities like this, where you can invite your friends and get rewarded for doing so. So imagine you have this community that's free, that's used as a marketing vehicle for your paid product. And people are inviting each other, people are inviting their friends to your marketing funnel. Imagine that. People are inviting their friends to your pipeline. And they're doing so because the community is an incredible free place to be. It's a place that deserves attention. People are making connections here, making friends, gaining free value. Of course, they're going to want to invite their friends. And what they're doing is they're inviting friends into your pipeline. That did not happen with the old model. This model is anyway, I don't need to explain why I like this model. Okay, that's that section done. That's the public section done. The next section here is the private section. Now, this is an interesting idea. To explain it to you, I want to show you this tweet. Fame and its corporate cousin brand is proportional to the number of fans, but their wealth is power law distributed. What this means is that the amount of fame that you have is distributed to the amount of people that know about you, the amount of people in your audience or people in your community. Very simple. But within the people that know about you, within your community, their power law is, their wealth is power law distributed. Meaning most people, so say this is the amount of people that know about you, this is your fame, this is your brand, this is your audience, this is your community. Most people in your audience don't have that much money, but a very few people at the top of your audience have an absolute crazy amount of money. So the way that you maximize fame and profit is by only charging the people that have the most money. Because if you have an audience of people and you're constantly pitching to them, what happens is your audience decreases. Fewer and fewer people want to be in your community, fewer and fewer people want to be in your audience. So you want to minimize the amount of people in your audience that you're pitching, but obviously you still want to make profit. So the way you get around that is by only charging the best 1% of your audience, the people that have the most money. This is a beautiful mental model. This is so valuable. This is exactly what Alex Hormozi is doing. This is why his audience has grown so much. I have nothing to sell you. I have nothing to sell you. I have nothing to sell you grows his audience. Oh, but if you're already doing 3 million a year, I want 10% revenue of everything that you're making. That's 300 grand a year I'm going to charge you. And that's only if we don't scale. It could go up to 1 million a year if things go well. Yeah, so I'm not selling you anything, but if you have a lot of money, then I want some of that money. That's what he's doing, but it's incredibly clever because it allows him to maximize his audience, but still make a crazy amount of profit. And that's what this model allows for you. So, as well as that, by the way, the other benefit of this is that you're not constantly pitching publicly. Hardly anybody actually knows about what you have to sell. Only the people that are a good fit have to know what you have to sell. Anyway, this is the reason that I think that School is such a good platform for doing this. One, because it allows you to include the classroom inside of the community, but also because it has some features, 3 features that make it really, really good at booking calls from your community. One is the broadcast posts feature. So recently I created, let me see if I can find it, this. Now this is somewhat of a sales letter. Oh no, sorry, that's not the right one, this one. Here we go. This is a sales letter. This is a sales letter for consultants earning $10,000 plus a month, or educational content creators with 10,000 plus subscribers or followers. It's basically a mastermind to help people perfect the model that I'm explaining to you, to help people grow a large audience, roughly defined as 100,000 subscribers or followers on YouTube or podcasts. I got 600,000 subscribers on YouTube, as well as making massive profit using this model. And when I created this sales letter, there's a very cool feature on School that allows you to broadcast this sales letter to everybody in your audience. Everybody that's in the community will get an email of this letter. So everybody in your community is now reachable through an email. It's incredible. It's not just the people that are coming in every single day. It's broadcasted publicly. And by the way, this is a sales letter. You can read through it. This is a sales letter. And look at the response to my community when I launched it. What happens when most people launch a sales letter? People are like, oh, scam. He's trying to sell things to me. He's a salesman, blah, 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 blah. Read these comments. This is what happens when you build a community. People are so admiring of you because of the niche fame that you have, that you have freedom to do whatever you want. You aren't constantly worried, oh, what are people going to think of this? What are people going to think of this? You just do what you want to do. It's really cool. So that's the first feature, broadcast feature. So that sales letter got broadcasted out to 2,000 people. The next one is live webinars. So School actually released this feature. I'm not sure how many people know about this. You can create an event in your calendar. Let me go to the calendar here. And in this, there's a setting. I may as well just show you. Let me go to the next month. Edit. You see this? Remind members by email 1 day before an event. So if you host a webinar for everyone in your community, you can toggle a setting, and a day before the webinar starts, everybody in your community is going to get emailed about it. Excuse me. This also works using School as a product. Like if you have a Q&A, you can click remind members by email 1 day before the event. So you can get more people to attend your Q&As. But I think that it's almost as if this was just designed for like live webinars. So you can get loads of people to attend your webinars if you use School, and you can use that webinar to upsell people. Excuse me. And on top of that, DM sales. School also has a great chat feature. So now as soon as people join your community, you can DM them, you can warm them up, you can go through the process necessary to potentially, if they're a good fit, sell them to one of your higher end products, which brings us on to taking sales calls and then the product. This is copied straight from WeTube. This is copied straight from the Sam Ovens model. You start a lower ticket product, and this is different, by the way, to help execute the model. So you see here in pink, here we define the model for free. Here we help people execute the model, help people master the model, help people really, really get the most out of the model. I was in Sam Ovens' Quantum Mastermind for a year, and this is basically what this was here. It was a model where there was no course material. There was no new defined course material, like step 1, do this, step 2, do that. But it was still incredibly valuable to me because it helped me execute. There was nuances to the situation. Combine all of this together, your role as the founder becomes incredibly simple. You only have a 3-person team, not a 100-person team. You have one founder. Your goal is to create core content, which is over here. Create core content, grow a big, loyal audience that loves you. Post insights to the community. So whenever you learn something about the thing that you're teaching, you make posts into the community so that you're constantly real-time updating the community with insights that you have. And then you just have to run the masterminds. That's it. Hiring becomes incredibly easy because you have an audience of people that love you and want to work for you. So all you have to focus on is this section here, delivering on the products. And then whenever you have an insight, you post it here. So it's literally just this, this, and this. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's all the founder has to do. Then a sales rep basically does this section. I guess the founder sometimes would have to do this, for example, and have to do this, like create the sales letters. So there's a little bit more to this. You'd have to every now and again create a post, maybe do a webinar. Yeah. And then a content manager, which runs this section. But to be honest, in the beginning, I wouldn't worry about that. You need to get this going well. You need to get this system, this machine going well. So to summarize, if you're not in school and you're not using it in this way, I'd recommend go to schoolreview.com or just go to school.com if you don't want to use my affiliate link. Test out using School in this way. And then a lot of focus on this. Try to build a system that helps you grow a large, loyal audience and put that at the core of your marketing. There's a reason why Sam Ovens has stopped advertising and is starting this podcast. There's a reason why people like Alex Hormozy uses this new model. There's a reason why people like Iman Gadzi have stopped running ads and just use a model like this. This, at least in my opinion, is the model that will be used in the future. If ads work for you now and you want to keep using them, fine. What you're doing now is working for you and you want to use it, fine. But this takes a long time to set up. This isn't just something you can turn on. This is a long-term play. But in the long term, this is how you build a powerhouse of a business that isn't constantly trying to fight against marketing that's decreasing your word of mouth where people are saying, is this guy a scammer? Is this guy real? Oh, these ads are so annoying, blah, 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 blah. This is the way you get your marketing compound exponentially, as well as your product compound exponentially. And if you want to learn a little bit more about this, I'd recommend you consume all of Sam's content. I'd recommend you join School. And I'd also recommend you join Synthesizer University if this is something that you're serious about implementing. It is a mastermind to help you implement this model. So if you're looking for a live example of how I've implemented this model, just check out Synthesizer School. It's literally a replica of what I'm explaining to you here. So yeah, hope you enjoyed. This was long, but I hope it was worth it.